This parking garage is home to one of the car charging stations at UC San Diego, which is one of the largest public charging hubs in the world. UCSD student Isaiah Kabibi charges his electric hybrid car on campus.
It's interesting to see how many people actually drive electric cars here. It's quite a lot of students, so having these outlets, especially with a lot of kids that I know that live in condos where they're not able to charge at home, having these here are really, really helpful.
And so this charger here from PowerFlex, you have an app.
David Victor is co-director of UCSD's Energy Decarbonization Initiative.
And you turn on the app, and then you look at the code here, and then it tells you what the cost is going to be, and then it checks to make sure you have money in your bank account.
Electric cars are a way to slow global warming and also to meet California's clean energy mandates. 10 years from now, new car dealers in the state will be able to sell only zero-emission cars.
And if the state's policy goals are met, such that by 2035, all new cars are effectively electric vehicles, then we're going to see a lot more electric vehicles on the road, much bigger need for the infrastructure to charge those vehicles, not just at home, but also in workplaces and on the roads.
Meeting California's clean energy goals means transforming the way we get around. The EPA says transportation is the nation's biggest contributor to carbon emissions. Within transportation, light-duty vehicles, cars and pickup trucks, emit 57% of all the greenhouse gases. Cars don't have to be electric to be zero emission, but a lot of people think EVs just make the most sense. Jay Kim is chair of the Industrial and Systems Engineering Department at the University of San Diego.
We already have an electric grid. We already have the infrastructure. Whereas if you were to do, for example, hydrogen vehicles, you would have to start from scratch, basically, and try to build up that whole infrastructure.
So what will a fleet of mostly electric cars do to California's power grid? Well, the California Energy Commission forecasts that in 2035, EVs will represent 20% of the total energy demand that California utilities must provide for. In San Diego, power demand and grid congestion are lowest overnight, and that's why it's cheapest to charge your car overnight. The problem is most overnight power comes from carbon-emitting natural gas plants, because renewable sources don't produce power when the wind doesn't blow and the sun doesn't shine. Victor says that's why workplace charging is the best option, because daylight hours are when carbon-free solar power in California is abundant.
What we're doing here at UC San Diego is asking the question, suppose that in addition to congestion, we also care about the emissions that are caused by our vehicles. And if you add the cost of those emissions, it already makes sense quite often to be charging in the middle of the day rather than at night. The tariffs just don't reflect that yet.
EV owners who own their own homes are most likely to have a home charger, but students at UCSD are looking for other places to fill their cars with electrons. Apartment dweller Stella Riley, who got a Volkswagen ID4 about a month ago, almost always charges on campus while she attends classes. She says as a new EV driver, her charging habits remain a work in progress.
Depends on my mood. If I feel like charging it, I will. Normally I wait till it gets a little bit lower, because if I'm at like 60%, I probably won't charge it. But once it gets to like 40, I'm kind of like, ooh, I should charge my car.
David Victor says UCSD plans to triple its number of electric car chargers. But as infrastructure needs expand for EVs, there are some possible trends in car ownership that could make them less of a power burden than we might think. Jay Kim says a lot of people predict the future will bring less individual car ownership and more people who rent time from a public fleet of autonomous self-driving cars.
You can spread out the charging a lot easier, and you can match basically the supply and demand for mobility easier. As a result, you could also then match the supply and demand of electricity easier as well.
But for now, individual EV owners are going to have to figure out the best place and time to charge, and some people hope that will be during the day. Thomas Fudge, KPBS News.